Are you planning a visit to Italy, but don't know if you can afford it? Well, today we're going to tell you all you need to know to visit Italy on a budget. Also, stay tuned to the end because we're going to give you a real-life example on how to budget for 2 weeks in Italy.
Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea. And today we'll tell you all you need to know to visit Italy on a budget. But first, if you like travel-related videos like this one, now is a great time to hit the subscribe button down below so you'll never miss any future videos.
Why, excellent advice.
I think so. So let's begin with where to stay. One of the biggest expenses when you're traveling is accommodation. And it's not a secret that hotels in some cities in Europe are very expensive. So how do you get around this? In Italy, you have a few options to save some money on hotels when traveling on a budget. First, try to visit during the off-season. If you're traveling in peak season, June to September, hotels can be 30 to 40% more expensive than when you visit during off-season. That's because they are sold out. Another important tip is to contact the hotel directly. Booking sites are very convenient, but also they charge hotel a fee to their property to be listed on their sites.
Which means that cost gets passed down to you.
So if you contact the hotel directly, you might have a little discount. Usually we search the hotel on a booking site, then we pick the hotel that we like, and then we contact it directly. It's not unusual to have a 10-15% discount or at least free breakfast, a free cancellation or something like that. So, in major cities in Italy, hotels close to the train stations are usually the cheaper than hotels right downtown. Usually the train station area is busy and not the prettiest, but it's also cheaper. So if you're considering a hotel on a budget, that's a good place to go. Bed and breakfast can be a great way to save some money when traveling to Italy and to Europe. And most of them are very nice. So check the link in the description below for a great site to look for bed and breakfast. Also in Europe, hostels can be another great option for younger travelers to save some money when traveling and socialize. Hostels in Europe are clean and safe and can offer a great opportunity to visit the city without breaking the bank. And again, we'll leave a link in the description below to find out hostels in Italy. In some cities in Italy, especially in Rome, you can also find convents that rent rooms to travelers and to tourists.
And actually, we did that once, actually,
we
with
did,
some friends.
We did.
Yeah, it was great.
These are usually located right downtown because most of the convents are right downtown and they're very affordable. Rooms are generally pretty basic and they might have a few rules, such as a curfew 11:30. But other than that, they're a great opportunity and a great way to save some money, especially for family or solo travelers. Again, one more time, we'll leave a link in the description below for a couple of places that you can check in Rome.
Yes, definitely.
Lastly, if you're visiting some areas like Tuscany, consider staying in agriturismo. These are farms that have some rooms for rent. Some of those agriturismos are absolutely wonderful and they are usually quite affordable in beautiful location. And one more time, we'll leave a link in the description below for you to check out.
And one thing to note about agriturismo is unlike other places in the world, they will not make you work for your...
Absolutely not.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next topic, my favorite, where to eat. So we get a lot of questions. What should we budget to eat in Italy? Well, on average, you can budget between 5 and 10 euros for breakfast, 10 and 15 euros for lunch, and between 25 and 30 euros for dinner. So let's see some tips to help you save on your budget when you're going to eat in Italy. So, tip number 1, take advantage of the free breakfast. Most hotels in Italy offer breakfast included in the fare, and if they don't, contact them directly and ask them. This is a wonderful way to save some money. Also, when you have a nice big breakfast, you don't have to have a big lunch. which means this will also save you some time as well as money. And if you don't have the free breakfast option, you can do what most of the other Italians do and simply have breakfast at a coffee shop. Usually a cappuccino and a pastry, well, it'll cost you around 3 or 4 euros depending on where you are. But don't forget, to get this price, be sure to eat inside at the bar, because many of these bars will charge you extra if you decide to eat at the table. They're going to charge you coperto. Now, for lunch, you can stop at any coffee shop again and have some pizza or a sandwich, sometimes called a toast, with some water or soda or a beer, and the whole thing will cost less than 10 euros. Also, don't forget you can go to a local grocery store and buy a fully prepared meal, which is usually delicious, and again for less than 10 euros. And lastly, you can always find pizzerias practically everywhere where you can get a pizza and a beer for less than 15 euros. Now, we think that for dinner, you should experience some traditional Italian food. And for this reason, you should look at the local trattoria. Ask the locals, where's a good place to eat without spending a fortune? And believe me, Italians will be more than happy to tell you their favorite place along the way. And by the way, if you want to know what's a trattoria, check out this video. Now, for dinner, with some local wine, an antipasto, primo, secondo, that sort of thing, should cost between 25 and 30 euros per person. Now, here's a few tips to avoid overspending when picking a place to eat. First, avoid any restaurant or bar or coffee shop that's right in front of a major tourist attraction. You're going to pay a premium for the view. Also, avoid any restaurant that has someone at the door that's trying to get you to come in. Those places are usually targeting tourists like you, and they're usually far more expensive than they need to be. On the same note, avoid restaurants that promote that tourist menu. Again, those that target tourists, they tend to be overpriced, and the food is probably not going to be that good anyway. Ideally, take a few steps outside the main tourist area, and you're going to find much better prices and quality, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so what's our next topic?
Our next topic is how to move around Italy. The best way to move around between cities in Italy is by train, absolutely by far. The Italian train system is really efficient. Almost every city has a train station right downtown, and there are several trains connecting different cities daily. There are two main kinds of trains, the high-speed train and the regular trains. High-speed trains are more expensive, they require a reservation, and they connect major cities, not every single city. These are called Frecciarossa for Trenitalia and Italo-Train for Italo, the other train company.
That's right.
Regular trains are not as fast, but they are also cheaper, and they travel pretty much in every single city in Italy. Only Trenitalia and some regional companies offer regular trains.
And we should note that Italo is the more budget-friendly high-speed train, usually.
Usually. If you want to save some money when booking a train in Italy, buy the regular train instead of the high-speed. If you want to book the high-speed train and you will want to save some money, you have to book early in advance, at least 4 to 6 weeks in advance.
That's right.
And you can book a super economy fare. Remember though, if you book the super economy fare, this is kind of fare you cannot make any changes whatsoever or refund. So if you are not able to catch a train for whatever reason, you're out of luck. Lastly, Trenitalia offers a special pass that allows you travelers to travel 3 or 4 times in 7 days, or 7 times in 15 days. The pass has a few rules, so before buying it, you should check that it's worth for you and is actually convenient. But actually it can be a very good way to save some money.
Definitely.
Once you reach a city, the best way to move around Italy, in our opinion, is by walking. Most Italian cities are very walkable, especially the historic city center. So, for you to appreciate the beauty of any city, you should walk as much as you can.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you can use public transit that is quite affordable and efficient. In Rome, Milan, and Naples, you can use the subway, which is cheap and very convenient. You can buy day passes, valid all day or weekly passes, and this will save you a lot of money. Here's a video for you for the subway in Rome, which you should take a look. In Venice, the local public transit is called Vaporetto, and it is the water equivalent of a city bus. Taking the Vaporetto down the Grand Canal is probably the best way to enjoy and experience this beautiful place as the Grand Canal.
Or take a nap.
Also, the Vaporetto is the best way to get into the island of Murano and Burano. You can buy passes for Vaporetto as well. Lastly, if you want to visit the Cinque Terre, the easiest and most efficient way of doing it so is by train. You can check our Cinque Terre video up here, then you can learn all about how to go to Cinque Terre by train. Let's move on to our next topic. What is it?
Well, for our next topic, we're going to be talking about what to see. All right, so every Italian city has plenty of free things to see and do. In fact, we have an entire playlist with free things to see and do in many Italian cities. Also, in many cities, you can take a free walking tour. These are done by tour guides that work exclusively for tips. And by the way, be sure to check the link in the description below for more about free walking tours. Unfortunately, there's some very important museums, sites, and attractions that are not free. But these are discretionary. You can decide to visit them or not. It's up to you. One thing to keep in mind that if you're really on a budget, the first Sunday of every month, most museums in Italy are free of charge. And you can take advantage of this opportunity to save some money on attractions. And, like before, we've left a link for you in the description below for more information about this. Alright, so here's a few tips to save some money on museums and attractions. First, do your research in advance. When you plan your trip, take a good look at what museums and attractions are available in each city. Then decide which one interests you and which one doesn't. In some cities, you can buy city cards, and these offer you entrance to several museums and attractions for one single fee. For example, say you're in Venice. Well, you can look into the Venezia Unica card, and that will save you money on both the Vaporetto as well as several museums. Now, remember at the beginning, we told you that we made a real-life example of a budget for a 2-week tour of Italy? Well, here it is. Andrea, do you want to do this?
Sure. First of all, this tour is brought to you by ReadySetItaly.com, a website where you can customize your tour to Italy and will find plenty of information about visiting Italy. The tour is 14 days, and to make it very efficient, we picked Venice Marco Polo Airport to start and leave from Rome Fiumicino Airport. Both airports are very well connected with every major European cities. In the budget, we did not include the flight, because we do not know where you're coming from. So, the total price is for accommodation, restaurant, transportation, and attraction. We picked a classic 2 weeks, 14 days tour, with 2 nights in Venice, then following a train transfer to Florence for 3 nights, then from Florence by train again to Cinque Terre for 2 nights, from Cinque Terre a train ride to Naples for 3 nights, and lastly a train ride to Rome where you're going to stay 4 nights. We priced per person with hotel based on double occupancy.
That's right, so if you're just one person, you have to double it.
One extra thing we did not include in the budget is the city taxes, because these are based on the type of hotel, the city, the length of stay, and they're usually a few euros per person per day. So it's not a huge difference.
No.
We set an average price for meals for 10 euros per day per breakfast, 15 euros per day for lunch, and 30 euros per day for dinner. And that's just an average. Also, we picked some must-see attractions in every city. But again, these are totally discretionary, and you can choose not to do them and save some more money.
It's totally up to you.
Absolutely. So let's begin with 2 nights in Venice. In Venice, we calculate the transfer by bus from the airport to Piazzale Roma, which cost 8 euros, and then the 2 days Vaporetto pass for 30 euros. We found a great place on Airbnb for 1 night 50 per person. We picked two of the most popular attractions in Venice for your visit. One is the famous Doge Palace that cost 28 euros, and of course half an hour gondola ride for two people at a price per person of 47.33. By the way, if you want to save some money and you still have one the Instagram shot worthy for your gondola ride, there's a little secret that you can check in the video here.
It's actually the biggest secret in Venice.
Absolutely. So for Venice, the total is 332 euros and 83 cents per person. And of course, that includes food. From Venice, you can take the train to Florence Santa Maria Novella.
All right, so now we're going to head off to Florence for 3 nights. The Santa Maria Novella train station is right in the city center. And in Florence, well, you can walk to pretty much of any of the attractions. For this reason, we didn't have to include any of the transportation costs. We found some excellent accommodation options right by the Duomo for just 157 euros per person for the entire stay, the entire 3 nights, including breakfast. Lastly, for attractions, we picked the Uffizi Gallery for 20 euros per person, the Galleria dell'Accademia to see the David for 29 euros, and lastly, a tour of the Chianti area with wine tasting for 35 euros and 10 cents. So for this part of the journey, in Florence, it comes to 376 euros and 10 cents. From Florence, you can then take the train to the town of Rio Maggiore in Cinque Terre, where you can stay for 2 nights.
In Cinque Terre for 2 nights, for transportation, we included the Cinque Terre card for 2 days, that's 33 euros. This will give you unlimited train rides in between the 5 towns and unlimited hikes on all the path that connects all the towns. And also included is the bus from the Corniglia train station all the way to the top of the hill.
Yeah, because you're probably not going to want to walk
It's
up
a
there.
long walk. We found a nice room with a view in Rio Maggiore for 106 euros per person for 2 nights. This does not include breakfast. Also, we included a wine tasting in Manrola for 20 euros. The total for Cinque Terre is 269 euros for the 2 nights. From Cinque Terre, you will take a train to Naples. This will be the longest train ride of the whole tour.
Might be the longest train ride, but it's also our favorite city in Italy.
Absolutely.
So Naples is a very walkable city, and the station is within walking distance to the Centro Storico. It's called the Historic City Center. However, we included 15 euros per person for the return train ticket to Pompeii. We calculated the skip the line Pompeii entrance for 27 euros, a bus tour of the Amalfi Coast for 85 euros, and the entrance to the stunning Cappella di San Severo in Naples to see some amazing sculptures for 8 euros. This is optional but highly recommended. We found a great hotel right in the historic city center for 156 euros per person, including breakfast, so the total for Naples is 426 euros. From Naples, you'll have to take one last train ride to Rome.
In Rome, we will stay the last 4 nights. And again, Rome is not a very walkable city, and it's actually a pleasure to walk around and explore. For this reason, we only included the shuttle train from the city to the airport at the end of your trip for 14 euros. But if you are getting tired of walking, you can use the subway, which is cheap and convenient. We found a great bed and breakfast in the central area of Campo dei Fiori for 171 euros and 50 cents per person for the 4 nights. That does not include breakfast. Lastly, we included the guided tour of the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel for 44.24 per person, and the ticket to the Colosseum and the Forum for 37.37 per person. The total for Rome is for 547 euros and 11 cents per person. Lastly, we priced the train using the Trenitalia, the 14 days pass for train, which costs 246 euros per person. And there we have it. For this trip to Italy, the total cost for these 2 weeks, 14 nights, itinerary comes out to 2,197.04 cents per person.
Now, if you would like to download this particular itinerary, we've also left a link in the description below. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed this video about visiting Italy on a budget. As usual, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below because we love to read and answer your comments. In the meantime, we will see you in our next video.
Ciao.